Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about happiness, what it really is, why it often proves to be so elusive, and what we can do to get us back on track and moving towards it. I'm Tim Box, Mind Coach, and this is my simple guide to achieving happiness. Okay, first things first. This episode is not designed to be a philosophical piece, and I'm not aiming to delve into the meaning of life or get too existential here. My goal is to give you guys some simple ideas that might in some way help you take a step or two towards happiness when confronted with those times when the next step seems hard to take. Having said that, there are many very deep thinkers and highly intelligent individuals out there who would challenge the idea that happiness is or should be our primary aim in life. I've heard it suggested that the advancement of society in general is the only true moral or ethical direction to travel in and is the only way to achieve true fulfilment. But I think often the people that claim to challenge the idea that personal happiness should be the goal are really just challenging the traditional idea of what we think happiness is. I'm one of those people that seeks wherever possible to have a positive impact on those around me and the world in general. But I'm aware I do it because it makes me feel happy to be that guy. I'm comfortable with the idea that what I might describe as the more altruistic sides of my nature are in fact largely self-motivated. I do it because in some small way being a positive force and making a positive impact makes me happy. Whenever I'm working with clients, I'm very aware that in some way what they're seeking is more happiness. And together we work very much on the assumption that the desire to move towards happiness is what drives us. The place where most of us make the mistake is our definition of happiness and what we feel makes us happy. When you ask yourself the question, what is it that makes me happy? Many of us will instantly move towards something that we have or would like to have, such as our relationship or our family, perhaps a lovely home in a nice location or a fulfilling job or career that brings us a sense of purpose each day. Some of us might think our favourite food or our happiest location. We might even choose something quite trivial, like that thing we bought that we really didn't need but just wanted. During the pandemic, when activities were restricted, buying indulgent items was the go-to for many of us when it came to putting a bit of joy in our lives. This, of course, is why Jeff Bezos is now the richest man in the world. Thank you, Amazon, for my retro arcade machines that I've barely ever switched on. However, if our happiness is simply about what we have or where we currently are, what we're currently doing and who we're doing it with, then we put our focus on the transient and the temporary, because in the future I'll have different things and be with different people, I'll be in a different place doing different things. None of these things will remain constant, and whether I have them or not will very often be beyond my control. So anything I believe brings me happiness threatens to then take that happiness away if I lose it. This is why we often cling to relationships which are bad for us, because at one time they brought happiness and then we might feel our continued happiness is dependent on remaining in that relationship. This is why real happiness, true lasting happiness, derives from being happy with who we are. You are the only guaranteed constant in your life. For all the things that will change from day to day, the one thing that will always remain is that tomorrow morning you will wake up as you. If we can be happy with that, if we can like, respect, and perhaps even love the person we are, then it really doesn't matter so much what the mechanics of our situation are. We will always have that starting point and that baseline below which we never need fear falling. Whatever life throws at us, if we like the person that's being thrown at, then we can probably find our way through the challenges and ride out the bad times. This is why when it comes to the dilemma of where to focus our efforts when it comes to taking action towards our own happiness, any effort put into improving how we feel about ourselves is going to be energy well spent. Over the years, I put a lot of effort and focus on self-improvement because I know the changes I make will provide the sort of long-lasting satisfaction and fulfillment that will fuel my efforts in all other areas. Being happy with who we are is the most important happiness we can pursue. However, if we reserve answering the question, am I happy with who I am, until we've checked in the mirror to see if that statement is true, then we might find ourselves in trouble. All too often we base our current assessment of our worth on a judgment of our appearance or our achievements. We make a judgment on our own quality before granting ourselves any love. If we choose to be perpetually unhappy with ourselves until our reflection appears up to standard or we deem our achievements to have met our goals, then we're probably setting ourselves up for a fall. What happens if we don't look so good today? What happens if we messed up at work yesterday and are questioning our quality at what we do? What happens if our partner just dumped us and all we can think about are the flaws that might have caused them to do that? Well, here's a slightly different way of looking at this. When a mother gives birth, She doesn't wait to see how the child turns out before deciding whether she loves it or not. The first time she sees her baby, she's not looking at it in judgment. She's not making an assessment of quality. She's already decided she loves this little thing more than anything else. A mother loves her child unconditionally and without qualification or caveat. And if a mother didn't do that, then we would question her response rather than the quality of the baby. How about you extend yourself that same type of love? What we see in the mirror will change from day to day. And it's okay to like some things about ourselves and not others. Life is a journey of learning, growing, and hopefully improving. Some days will be more successful than others. However, let's decide today that I love me is base level day one stuff, and everything else for the rest of our lives simply builds on that. If we can do that, then not only will we be able to start each day as someone we're happy with, but we'll also care enough about ourselves to make whatever personal improvements we might choose. Because we're here to try and enjoy our time on this planet. We're here for happiness. And as strategies for happiness go, there are worse places to start than simply choosing to always love yourself. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos all about managing your own mind. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this one, and tell me what you're doing today to help you feel a little bit better about who you are and your journey towards happiness. That's it for now. I'm Tim Box, Mind Coach. Remember to always be kind to your mind, and I'll see you next time.